What breaks the fast in the Hanbali school? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, salatu wassalam ala Rasulul Kareem, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam taslima. Allahumma atina nufusana taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyaha wa mawlaha. Allahumma ham shuyukhana amma ba'd. The praises belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything happens because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And may peace and blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is who we follow. And it's the example that we go by. And he's a final messenger and prophet of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And today we're going over the Hanbali school, the Imam al-Sunnah, Ahmad Ibn Hanbal, and what he says about things that break the fast, what corrupts the fast. And so those are things that he mentions. And what we have to do is we have to fast according to the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us, not the way that other people, they do the things. Because you notice in the Quran, Allah says, وَرَحْبَانِيَّ ابْتَدَعُوهَا مَا كَتَبْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. The monasticism that people, they invented, Allah didn't ordain for them, except for seek the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What you find is people, they do things from making it up from themselves. Like some people, like the Christian people, you see that they don't have sexual relation. They have a vow of silence, for example. And all these things, Allah, He didn't ordain it for them. They can't make the things up themselves. They have to go by the ordainments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the procedure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He did the things. And this is what was taught by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And they have to continue on that. It's not by people's feelings and people's whims, people's opinions and ideas. Allah doesn't accept that. It has to be according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands. And this is what the ilm that reaches us, we follow that inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala willing. And fasting, Sawm, you find, and it means refraining from doing things. In the old days, Maryam, Inni nadartu lirrahmani sawma wa lam ukallim al-yawma insiya. Means I vow to do a fast to Allah, and I'm not going to speak to anybody. That's what Maryam said. So you see, in the old days, in the time of Isa alayhi salam, after Isa was born, Maryam said that she did a vow of silence, of not talking. So that was like, a time of Isa, when Isa was born. So that's literally what Sawm means. Yasumu means to refrain from doing things. But we have to do it on the procedure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us. And so this is an easy concept. There's not a lot of new things in here, that the Sheikh he mentions. Did you read the first one, Sheikh, Brother Salim Bhai?
Whoever does on purpose and not forgetfully, the fast is correct.
Yes. So that's the thing over here. If a person, they do things on purpose and not forgetfully, muta'ammid, purposely. The first thing is, what is it? Read your number one. Akala, eating things. So a person, when they're fasting, they're not allowed to eat things. Eat the food, obviously. That's not allowed for a person. That's very obvious, though, when a person, they're fasting. Not to eat. Okay, what's number two, Imam Faisal? Shariba. Yes, it's good to learn Arabic. Akala means to eat. Shariba means to drink. So it's not allowed to drink things while a person, they're fasting. Water or other things, a person, they can't drink that while they're fasting on purpose and not forgetfully. That's not allowed. And number three, what's that, Sheikh Amr? And yes, that means having the sexual relation, intercourse. That's not allowed also, while a person, they're fasting. So they have to refrain from those three things, while a person, they're fasting. That's what it means to fast. Okay, so these three things are mentioned. Also, you find that many of the hadiths, they say that the person, they have to refrain from man lam yada qawla zur wa amala bihi. The person, they have to avoid the talk of zur. Zur means like the gurgling sound in the throat, which is from the evil, and acting upon it, which means to act upon the disobedience. And it's not, there's no need for him to leave his food and drink. So the other thing is to bear in mind, this is what the hadith from that many of our shuyukh and ulama, they say. So it's refraining from these things, but also a person should avoid, saying the qawla zur, saying evil things from the effect of the shaitan, and acting upon it. And acting upon it refers to all the evil deeds while a person is fasting. Otherwise, the reward is reduced so much. That's the thing to bear in mind. So refraining from those things. Also, some of the ulama, they say if somebody comes and they want to argue with you and dispute with you, what should you say? Say, I'm fasting. I'm not sa'im. Not to get involved in argumentation and disputation. Those are the things to bear in mind. So these are the main things that's involved in the fasting. Stay away from the food and drink and having the sexual relations. Okay, to read number 4, Brother Mubin Bhai, to read number 4.
Four?
Yes, number 4 under.
Okay. Whatever reaches the stomach from any place.
Yes. See, the other thing that's not allowed is something that reaches the stomach. And what this refers to, if something goes through the nose or the eyes and things like that, and it goes to the stomach, that's also not allowed. And nowadays you have injections and things like that. So that's what the Sheikh mentions: the things that lead to the stomach from other places, besides the throat, besides the eating and the drinking and having the sexual relations. So that's what the Sheikh mentions. And people, what they do is nowadays you have the modern ulama. They give the rulings on things and they base it on the things that they learned from the days. And some of the things that people that talk about is the injections. Does the injections break the fast? And the ulama nowadays, the modern day ulama, they say if the injection, it's nourishment, if they're on an IV and it nourishes the body, then that breaks the fast. That's what they say. But if it's not nourishment, then that doesn't break the fast. That's what they say when the injections are concerned. Well, that's what they say when it comes to injections, because that's besides eating and drinking. That's another place where things go to the person, they consume it in their stomach. Okay, inshallah. So let's read number 5.
Yes.
Yes.
So, like the G2 is considered breaking fast, like the G2.
G tube,
Yeah, the people who take the G2, they insert a
feeding tube.
yeah, like that.
Yes, that would be, because that's what the Sheikh he said. Things that reach the stomach. Yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes because what happens if sometimes they insert a feeding tube in the neck, and they give the food through the neck stuff. So that's true. That's right. That's one of the things that you have as well. All right, inshallah.
The one the video,
Dialysis.
yeah, that's what you mean, right?
Uh, I do the dialysis, and what happened is the ulama in the contemporary ulama in Mecca and Medina, they researched it. the, and the original view would be that it wouldn't break the fast. That's what I would say, because the blood goes and it gets filtered out and brought back in. But what happens is sometimes when you do the dialysis, it adds things to the blood as well. And it's like nourishment that adds to the blood. So that's problematic, when you do the dialysis. Because it's not just taking the blood and filtering it, putting it back, but it's also adding additional things to the blood. And that's what some of the ulama had ruled in the Lajnat Dahima, in what do you call it, in the council of senior scholars in Mecca. That's what some of them they said. But anyway, maybe you have to look into it more in detail on what's involved in the dialysis. If it is adding things in to the blood, and if it is adding things into the blood, then it's like nourishing the body, and then that would be problematic. But if it's just taking things out, then that wouldn't be an issue, of doing the dialysis. And the other thing is also there's different opinions from other ulama. Some of the ulama, they say it has to go through the throat. They say it doesn't make a difference if it goes through if it goes through other passageways, even the nourishment, if it's through the what do you call it, through the IV or something like that, they say that doesn't break the fast. They say only the things that go through the throat. And that's a view in the other schools, besides the Hanbali school. And the other thing is also bear in mind that if when a person, they're sick, if they're on dialysis and they're ill, they don't have to fast. And if they're in a state where they're never going to get better, then they never fast. They just feed a poor person for every day that they have to fast instead. Right? They feed them a half a sa of food for every day that they have to fast. They feed a poor person. That's the other thing to bear in mind when somebody's on dialysis or they're doing these treatments. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Thank you. That's a good question, inshallah.
No,
Yes.
actually, so why we need to go for the fasting when the person is already at scheduled to have? So they should not be fasting at all.
Yes, so that's another issue. If it's something that harms a person or delays the recovery, we had this last time. Then a person they don't have to fast. What they do is they feed a poor person instead. Okay? And the sickness, it depends on if it's going to be cured in the future. If it's something that's going to be cured in the future, then the person they wait until they're cured and they make up the fast. But if it's a sickness that they're never going to be cured, that they can never fast again, they have to feed a person for every day instead. That's what's involved. And like it says in the Quran, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. No, it's the case. Okay, and the other thing to bear in mind is that some people they feel that they're sick, and some people they always feel that they're harmed. So you really shouldn't go by one's own personal feelings. You'd see what a doctor says. Somebody that's knowledgeable of the issue. If a person they ask the doctor, and the doctor says that it's okay for you to fast, and then you do the fasting. But if the doctor says don't fast, it's harmful for you, don't do it. Then listen to the doctor and go by that, inshallah. That's the best thing to do, because there are people out there they think that they're sick, but there's nothing wrong with them. So. That's the thing to bear in mind, inshallah. Okay, inshallah.
On making oneself vomit.
Yes. So what happens is if a person, they purposely vomit, make themselves vomit, throw up, then that also breaks the fast. And that's from a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the sheikh over here is mentioning directly from the hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's another thing that breaks the fast if a person, they vomit, they purposely vomit. One of the sheikhs, he explained it that what happens is the way that a person, they purposely vomit, what they do is they like insert their finger in their throat. So he says it's like, that's why that's breaking the fast, because you're putting something in your throat. That's how he explained it, And also sometimes people, what they would do is they would take water or something like that and they would like insert it and then come out again. So if a person, they purposely vomit, make themselves purposely vomit, that also breaks the fast. And that's directly from the saying of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He explains it more later on one of the other points, but that's the other thing. Okay, to read number 6.
On masturbation.
Yes. Okay, inshallah. So that's the thing. If the mani comes out, what happens is different fluids that come out. If that comes out, then the person, they do that on purpose, and that breaks the fast. So he says it's not just having sexual relation with your wife, but also if that occurs, then that breaks the fast. That's what the sheikh he said.
But this is haram.
Yes, that's the view of almost all the ulama. They say that masturbation is not allowed. That's what they say. No, that's just what they will say. Okay, and the other thing is, there's different words that people they use. They don't like to be explicit. So sometimes they say in Arabic, they say the secret habit. That's what they say. That's the term that they use. You don't want to be like explicit in these words here. But over here, that's what I had to look up this word. What does it mean by what's the word? Istamanna. So I had to look it up. What does it mean, istamanna? Then that's what it translated as. As that. And istamanna means that a person they become happy with themselves. Literally, that's what it means. Tamanna means a person they're like very delighted. So literally, that's what it means, to make oneself delighted. But then when you look at the translation, that's what they say. So they have different terms of what they mean by that, because you don't want to be explicit in the terminology.
Money.
Istamanna? Oh, okay. See, istamna. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yes. Oh, okay. Right. Yes. Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good point. Inshallah. Alif Sin Ta means talab, to request, and money means the seminal fluid. That's what that means. Jazakallah khair, Imam Faisal. I didn't even notice that the meaning of the word there. Istamanna. No. Okay, inshallah. So that also breaks the fast if a person may do that. We talk about other things also after that. Number 7.
أو قبل أو لمس فأمنى أو أمضى or kissing or touching and the semen or pre-seminal fluid.
Okay, inshallah. All right, so this is another point. Uh, and this is a difference of opinion in the other madhahib in pre-seminal fluid. But anyway, the Sheikh, he says if the pre-seminal fluid comes out, then that also breaks the fast. If a person, if they kiss or they touch their wife, and the fluid that comes out, then that breaks the fast. And the term that they use in Arabic for the pre-seminal fluid, they use madi. Madi is the term for it. And what that does is that's a fluid that's supposed to make the money, the seminal fluid, flow more smoothly when a person, they're having a relation with their wife. So what happens is the pre-seminal fluid comes out, it flows out, it doesn't come out by force. And then the seminal fluid comes out. And what that does is it allows for the semen to like swim through and reach the egg for the woman. So that's what they call it. And that's if a person, that's when they're having the desire, a strong desire with their wife, and they're touching their wife, and that fluid comes out first, and not the seminal fluid. Okay, so that's what the Sheikh, he says over here. He says that breaks the fast also if the pre-seminal fluid comes out. The muddy if a person, they're kissing their wife or touching their wife.
But if there's no fluid, it's kissing the touching water.
Yes. Yeah, he talks about that later. No?
It starts there, you don't know where it ends. Yeah, exactly. So he's kissing and this time of fasting. Obviously, Shaitan is the inertia of Shaitan is there. So he is already trying to start. So where it is, okay, I'll see after.
No.
For 30 days.
No, that's what they say, right? How people are committing the sin is this: the wheel is not a span. The wheel is inertia. When you put the brakes, the car doesn't stop. It takes some time to stop.
Okay. I think
By the time it's brake fully applied, the Ramzan is over.
I don't know about that. Any of the next point is for remain dancing until emission.
Yes, so if a person, they're staring at their wife, and then the emission comes out, then also that breaks the fast. The previous one I said if a person, they touch their wife or kiss their wife, and the fluid comes out and breaks the fast, but also said if a person, they're glancing, they're staring at their wife, then that also, and the fluid comes out, that breaks the fast as well. That's what the Sheikh mentioned. Okay. All right, so that's in the Hanbali school. Many of the other schools, they say that doesn't break the fast, but in the Hanbali school, he's specific on that breaks the fast. The muddy, if that comes out, if a person, they're touching their wife or staring at their wife, then that breaks the fast. That's what they say in the Hanbali school. The other school, they say it's just like urine, it doesn't break the fast, it's just like the urine comes out. But over here in the Hanbali school, that's what they say. So there's different rulings in the different schools, but that's in the Hanbali school, that's what they say. So,
But cupping, what if somebody has to take blood sample? That was cupping.
okay, let's go to that one. I'll explain that one, inshallah. Number 9, cupping. Okay, and the word in Arabic is hijama. And what happens is, if you look at the hadith text, there's two texts. There's two texts that are there. One of them where it says that the cupping, Rasulullah sallallahu it says iftara, hajim wa mahjum. The one that does the cupping and the one that gets cupped, they both break their fast. There's one hadith that says that. And there's another text that says that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did the cupping while he was fasting. So both those narrations are there. And the ulama, they talked about which one is the appropriate ruling, and because both of the hadith texts are there. So some of the ulama, they said the one hadith is weak, where it said that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got cupped while he was fasting, and some of the other ulama, they say it was abrogated. So there's different discussions that they have, but both of those hadiths are there in the case of cupping. But the view that the majority of the ulama, they say in the Hanbali school, they say the cupping does break the fast. And a couple of things to talk about when we talk about the cupping. One is the one that does the cupping. In the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they used to use their mouth to suck the blood from somebody. They would insert like a tube in the person, and they would suck it on their mouth, and so person would assume that that's the reason why that would break their fast, because they're sucking it with their mouth on the blood for somebody. And then the one that was mahjum, then so that would be fast. That would breaking their fast too. And some of the ulama, they say, is because the person that gets cupped, he becomes very weak, and because of that, and that's what some of the ulama, they say. That's a view of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen. He says the person, they become weak, because both of those texts are there, and there's two different views. So it says if a person, they become very weak after taking out the blood, then that's appropriate that a person not be fasting. And the same thing nowadays, if a person, they donate the blood, they give you something to drink, because the person, they lost some of their blood, so they feel weak. So that's what some of the ulama, they say, that if they remove the blood and they became weak, then that causes their fast to break. But again, there is another narration where Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did get cupped. That's what it says, and he was fasting. And so both those narrations there, the different ulama, they talk about that. But anyway, this is what Ibn Qudama says in the Hanbali school. So he says the cupping breaks the fast. So we go by that, inshallah. Okay, inshallah. All right, inshallah. Nowadays, people, they do it nowadays also. They do it a little bit differently now than they did in the old days. Now what they do is they take a cup and they heat up the air in it, and then they put it on, they do an insertion in the skin, and they put the cup on it, and then as the air compresses, it like draws the blood out. That's how they do it. And they really put cups on the person. That's how they do it nowadays. So they do it a little bit different. But in the old days, a person, they used to use their mouth. That's the issue that's there. And so the question comes up: what about nowadays, when people, they do the injections and they draw things out? And many ulama, they say that doesn't break the fast. And likewise, in the hospital, if a person, their job is to remove the blood from people, that doesn't break the fast. That's what many ulama, they will say. So it depends on the judgment of the ulama and what they go by. Inshallah, the cupping. Okay, inshallah. All right, inshallah. Let's go to the next one, number 10.
If one did it forgetfully or under compulsion, the fast is not correct.
Yes. No, the reason for that, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he says, if a person, they eat or drink something forgetfully, then Allah, he fed him or he gave him something to drink. And based on that, they say that doesn't break the fast. That's the opinion that they have in the Hanbali school. So if a person, let's say it's Ramadan, and the person, they went home and they said, oh, I'm thirsty, let me go drink something. Then he drank something, but he did it forgetfully. Then they say that doesn't break the fast in the Hanbali school. Okay? They say the person's fast is correct and there's nothing due on the person for that. Okay, and that's different than in the other schools. And some of the other opinions, they say, yes, it's true that Allah gave him something to eat or drink, but it doesn't mean that their fast is correct. So they say you have to make up the fast. And that's what they say in the Maliki school. They say that you do have to break the fast, even if you ate or drank something forgetfully. But in the Hanbali school, they say if you ate or drank something forgetfully, or out of compulsion, somebody made you drink something or eat something, then that doesn't break the fast. And compulsion means like out of force. Somebody takes a knife or something like that and says, you gotta drink something, I'm gonna stab you, right? And that's compulsion, that you have to drink something or eat something. Okay, inshallah. Okay. Yes. So if a person, they're walking and some dust goes in their throat, or a fly or a mosquito or something like that goes in their throat, that doesn't break the fast. Because the person, they didn't do it on purpose, so that's what he says. So that's the view in the Hanbali school. Okay, all right, inshallah. Go to number 12. Yes. So what happens is, a person, they're making wudu, they have to rinse their mouth, or they have to rinse their nose, and then accidentally, if the water If a person they swallow the water, that doesn't break the fast. And likewise in their nose, if they rinse their nose, that doesn't break their fast. No? All right. The thing about that is, let me see if there's a mention there. Okay, inshallah. The other thing is Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he said that when you rinse the nose, do it profusely, except if you're fasting. So there's a hadith that says that, from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that's on another issue on the chapter of the wudu. That when you rinse your nose out, to put a lot of water in your nose and rinse it out. Except if you're fasting, don't put so much in your nose. That's what it says. But anyway, if some water goes in accidentally, when you're rinsing your mouth or your nose, that doesn't break the fast. Okay, inshallah, read the next one. Yes. Yes. So if a person, they're not staring at a woman or staring at somebody else, and something comes out, that doesn't break the fast, That's what the Sheikh says. Okay, so the next one. Mm-hmm. Yes, if there's something that goes in the urethra, is the tract where the urine comes out. If there's something that goes in there, that doesn't break the fast. That's what the Sheikh said. Remember before he said that if a person, they're touching their wife or they're staring at their wife and the muddy comes out, then that breaks the fast. But if a person, they're not doing that and something goes in their urethra is the tube where the urine comes out and the things that come out, that doesn't break the fast. That's what Sheikh mentions. Yes. Number 15. So if a person, they're sleeping and they dreamt about having a sexual relation with somebody, and then the semen came out, then that doesn't break the fast. That's what the Sheikh mentioned. Because all these things are not on purpose, so that's why he mentions that. So that doesn't break the fast if that happens. For the person, they still have to do the ghusl and all those things, but the fast is still valid. That's what he mentions there. Yes. So the previous one we said, if a person they purposely vomit, that breaks the fast. But if a person they vomit, they're overcome by vomiting, that doesn't break the fast. And that's a hadith directly from the hadith from Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Man ilkay la yaftir, but man istaqa'a fahuwa yaftir. If a person they vomit, that doesn't break the fast. But if they make themselves vomit, that breaks the fast. So that's what the Shaykh mentions. If they vomit, then that doesn't break the fast. And also bear in mind that if a person they vomit, they're sick, and so a person they can break the fast if they want to, because they might be vomiting for a reason, and the reason would be because they're sick, and and they have a leeway to break the fast and make up a day if they are sick at all. Okay, inshallah, let's go to number 17.
Whoever is thinking it's night,
Mm-hmm.
it's the daytime, has to make up.
Yes. Okay, read the next one too.
Whoever is because of confusion of the break of Fajr does not have a fast.
Okay.
The last one, whoever eats because of the confusion of sunset has to make up.
Okay, inshallah. So this is a very interesting ruling. The ulama, they go by that. If a person broke their fast and then afterwards they realized it wasn't Maghrib time yet, they have to make up the day. Okay? And like nowadays, if a person, they look at the clock and it says 8:15, they said, okay, let me break my fast. And then they go and eat something, then they realize, oh, this clock is broken. It's too fast. It's not Maghrib time yet. And he has to make up the day. Okay? He has to make up the day. If a person, they do that, Okay? But in the morning time, if a person, they thought it was nighttime and they ate something or they drank something, then they realized, oh, it's after Fajr, they don't have to break the fast. It's excused. Okay? The nighttime is not excused, but the daytime is excused. Okay? What's the reason behind that? The reason behind that is it goes back to the usul al-fiqh, which is the derivation of rulings. And one of the concepts is that a person, they have to go with what's yaqeen, what is really there, and yubayn ala yabni ala al-bayn wa taraku ma fi shak. That means build on what is clear and go away from the things that are doubtful. And what happens is when a person, they are going to break their fast, what is clear that it's daytime. So the ruling is it's daytime, and then what's doubtful is if it's nighttime or not, because a person, they made a mistake about that, and they ate something. So then you have the ruling, it's daytime and you ate something. And that means your fast is no good. Okay, you see that concept there? Because when you go by the usul al-fiqh, you keep the statements that are clear, and the ones that are doubtful, you just cross them out. You put an X on them. So what's clear, it's daytime. What's questionable, did the tummy come in or not to break the fast? And the third thing is you ate something. So you cross it out, did the time come in to break the fast? So what's clear, it's daytime and you broke the fast. So therefore, your fast is invalid. You got to make up the day. Okay? Now what happens in the morning time, you have the opposite. What's clear that it's nighttime? What's questionable? Did the fajr come in or not? And the third thing, you ate or drank something. So then you cross that out. Did the morning time come in or not? Then what you have is it's nighttime and you ate and drank something. And therefore, there's nothing wrong with that because you can eat and drink in the nighttime. So that's why they say that you don't have to make up the day if you broke your fast in the fajr time. If you ate or drank something after the time came in, that's fine. But if it was nighttime and you made a mistake, then you have to make up the day. It's not just that everything is excused that you made a mistake on, like in the salat. If you made a mistake in the salat, you have to pray it again. So that's why they say that in the evening time, even though you made a mistake on it, you have to make up the day. But the daytime, the ruling is a little bit different in the daytime. Okay, is that clear? And that's the last point that he had the same issue that he said, because they were doubtful whether it was sunset or not. Okay, inshallah, so let's stop over here. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfirullah wa atubu ilayh, wallahu ta'ala alam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best.